Welcome to the Stormwatcher Training Program, part of the Disaster Defense Alliance's Neighborhood Stormwatch program. This presentation incorporates a lot of great material from an excellent spotter training course conducted by the National Weather Service office in Memphis, Tennessee. There are 6 parts to this training, and this is part 1, an introduction to the training program. Thank you for your interest in becoming a Stormwatcher for the NSW program. The training is divided into 6 short videos, each about 7 to 10 minutes long, and they cover different topics. Please complete them in order, starting with the current one, which is part 1. There's an optional 7th video at the end of the series for those of you with recreational drones and an interest in using these drones for observing and damage surveying. Now, this training will help you to better understand different hazards you may observe, as well as how to accurately interpret and report your observations. It will take just over an hour to complete the training, but you're encouraged to complete it one video at a time with breaks in between. To receive credit for this training and to become a Stormwatcher, you need to complete the 6 required short videos, correctly answering the questions associated with each one. Each of these videos will also provide you with a code word. Make sure you write down these words. Upon completion of the 6 short videos, you'll fill out a form to become a Stormwatcher. The form will ask for the code words, along with other information. Unlike most spotter training presentations that provide viewers with over an hour of material all at once, this training is done differently, in a manner more in line with how adults learn. It consists of 6 short training videos, each about 7 to 10 minutes long, and an optional 7th one. The training will begin with a brief focus on why we need Stormwatchers and what their value is. Then we'll review key hazard and product terms. Following that will be severe thunderstorm fundamentals. And then we'll focus on 2 primary types of severe storms, squall lines and supercells. Then we'll focus on specific hazards with considerable focus on tornadoes, including lookalikes. Then we'll look at hail, damaging storm winds, and flooding. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a focus on how to safely observe and report as a Stormwatcher. You are presently watching video number 1, which is part 1 for the training. Now, those of you with recreational drones who might be interested in using your drone for aerial storm observing or damage surveying, there is an optional 7th video on this topic. In addition to these short videos, there will be a forum on the Disaster Defense Alliance website for Stormwatchers and program organizers to discuss any relevant topics of this training or on storm observing in general. There will also be a link to an official storm spotter training guide for those who might be interested. Now let's look at why we need Stormwatchers. Even today, despite the technological advancements that have occurred, I'd like to start by comparing this program to the original spotter program, Skywarn, which was formed in 1965 and has around 300,000 trained spotters across the U.S. Skywarn is a fairly simple program that provides spotter training classes to people interested in serving their communities as storm spotters. After they complete the training, they contact the weather office if they observe anything reportable during significant weather events. Our Stormwatcher program provides the same level of training, but instead of 1 to 2 hour classes to attend, our training comes online through a recorded set of short videos that people can complete on their schedule. In fact, this may be more successful training as it is focused on how adults learn, which is through small chunks of information at a time, rather than being inundated with a lot of information all at once. More importantly, though, our program serves as a focus for our Neighborhood Stormwatch program and is set up as more of a community. Stormwatchers are set up to support their neighborhoods, as well as to help each other as a small-scale community. At the same time, their observations can be helpful to local National Weather Service offices and local media. The importance of Stormwatchers relates to the key problem we have with radar data. The radar is unable to sense what is occurring close to the ground once you get a substantial distance away from the radar site. That's because the radar beam increases in height with distance. In fact, by the time the lowest beam gets 100 miles from the radar site, it is located at least 10,000 feet above the ground. There's a lot that can be missed below that height. Storm observers help fill in this gap with information that can lead to timely warning issuances for areas downstream. This can be especially true for small-scale hazards that radar can have a hard time detecting. Public warnings of flooding or severe storms come from the National Weather Service. The basis of these warnings is primarily what is detected by radar, due to the desire to get lead time before the hazard is observed. But there's other important information to include when making these critical decisions, including reports from storm spotters, which come directly to the National Weather Service or through local media or law enforcement officials. Now, local media play a key role in disseminating warning information to the public, while emergency managers are focused on potential response to impacts. So a successful warning program really involves a team approach. Here's the code word associated with this video: observe. Be sure to write down this word and those from the other videos, as you'll need them when entering a form to become a storm watcher. It's important to keep track of which word goes with which video. This word goes with this video, which is part 1 of the training. See if you can correctly answer this question. Why are weather observers an important part of the severe weather warning program? Indicate all of the answers below that are correct. Pause the video if you need more time to think about this. Otherwise, the answer will appear momentarily. Hopefully you found that the correct answers are B and C. As great as the radar is, it still scans well above the ground. Thus, it doesn't always indicate what's happening at ground level. Storm watchers can help get warnings out for downstream areas, especially in challenging situations like small tornadoes or strong surface winds that radar can have difficulty detecting at times. Here's another question for you. Can you come up with the correct answer? All of the following are steps to be completed to become a storm watcher, except which one? In fact, no medical information is needed to become a storm watcher, so the correct answer here is C. You have completed part 1. Hopefully you have a better understanding of the value of storm watchers. If you had any problems correctly answering the questions in this video or are uncertain about the material from it, you are strongly encouraged to review it again. Otherwise, please take at least a short break, then move on to the next video in this series, which is part 2.